In this video, we will be looking at how to find standard deviation and variance. So our essential question is, how do I find standard deviation and variance? So we'll do a quick little review where we talk about range first. So range is where we take our greatest data point and subtract the smallest data point from it. And this just gives us a, kind of like a spread of the data and gives us an idea of the gap that exists between our greatest data point and our smallest data point. Now the variance is a little more complicated. It's just got quite a few steps to it, but all in all the process is pretty straightforward. Step 1 for the variance, find the average of the set of data. Which we're calling X bar. So we'll add up all our data points, and then we'll divide by the number of data points, and that'll help us find the average of the set of data. Step 2, take X bar and subtract from it a data point. And after you do that subtraction, you square it. And then you do this for each data point. So we'll take our average, subtract each data point. We'll do this each time for each data point, and then we'll square that difference. So we find the difference and square it, and then we'll get a bunch of new set of points to look at. Step 3, find the sum of the values in step 2. So then after we do the subtraction and the square, we'll then take all these values that we found and just add them all up. Step 4, divide by the number of values. So essentially after we are done with step 2, step 3 and 4 is that idea of finding the average of all the values in step 2. Now we have standard deviation, which we'll denote as sigma and the way we find standard deviation is we just take the square root of the variance. So after you've done after you've finished finding the variance, then you just take the square root of that value. So we'll take the square root of the variance, and then you'll have the standard deviation. So now let's look at a couple of examples. On this first example, we're just going to find the mean and the range of each data point, of each set of data. So we have two sets of data. We have our varsity team and our junior varsity team after they've done the 800-meter dash. So first, let's find the X bar for the varsity team. So I'll add up all of our data points. 137 plus 114 plus 125 plus 141 plus 132 plus 119. So I've added them all up, and we have 768 divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Divide this by 6, and we get that the X bar is 128. So the average time for the varsity team is 128. Now to find the range, we'll take the smallest value, 114, or the greatest value I should say, 141, and subtract from that 114. Once we've done that, we'll see that the range is 27. Now let's do the same for the junior varsity team. First we'll find the X bar, or the average, or the mean, we can say. We'll add them all up. And we get 912 divided by 6. We find the mean of the JV team is 152. And the range will be our greatest data point, 160, minus our smallest data point, which is 138, and that is 22. So that's how we can find the mean and the range for the two sets of data. Let's move to number 2. We're going to find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation for this data. So let's go ahead and find the mean first. We'll always want to find the mean. We'll kind of want to find them in this general order, since we need the mean to find the variance, and we need the variance to find the standard deviation. So we'll find the mean first. X bar is equal to 2 plus 9 plus 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 3 plus 10 plus 7. And you get 48. Divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And our mean is 6. Now to find the variance, I'll find the difference between 6 and each data point and then square that number. So here was the mean. Now for the variance, we have our mean already, so that's step 1's taken care of. Step 2, we'll go 6 minus 2 squared, which would be 6 minus 2 is 4. 4 to the second power is 16. And we're going to do this for each data point. 6 minus 9 squared would be negative 3 squared, which is 9. 6 minus 4 squared is going to be 2. 2 to the second power is 4. 6 minus 5 squared would be 1. 1 squared is 1. Then we have 6 minus 8 squared, which is negative 2. Negative 2 to the second power is 4. Then we'll have 6 minus 3 squared. 6 minus 3 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Then we'll have 6 minus 10 squared. 6 minus 10 would be negative 4. Negative 4 squared would be 16. And then we have 6 minus 7 squared, which is 1. Negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. So now we found all our values that we will then add up. And we're going to find the average of all these new values that we've created. So we'll add them all up. 16 plus 4 plus 4 plus 16 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 1. So I get 20, 40, 50, 60. So that equals 60. And then we divide that by how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll divide 60 by 8. 60 divided by 8 is equal to 7.5. So we found our variance is 7.5. Now to find our standard deviation, we'll take that value, the variance, so that's our sigma, is equal to the square root of 7.5. So I'll take the square root of 7.5, and I now have the standard deviation. 2.74. Now I'd like you to try this process on your own in number 3. One thing that you might need a refresher on is how to read this. If you were to list this data, each point just means we have that as a data point. So I have 131, I have 2 32s, I have 2 34s, 1 35, and 3 36s. So that's how you would read this graph to understand how many of each kind of data point there are. So go ahead and try to find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation on your own. You can pause the video right here, and then we will look at it together. So I hope you took some time to try this out. So what we did first is we found the mean by adding them all up. That was 306. And dividing that by the number of data points, which is 9. And then we had 34 as our x-bar, or our mean. Next, to find the variance, we have to subtract each data point from the mean and then square that result. So you see all our different values that we'll use to find the variance. Then we'll find the average of those new values, adding up the 9, the 4, the 0s, the 1s, and the 4s, dividing it by 9 because there's 9 values, and we get 3.33 as our variance. Then to find our standard deviation, we'll take that 3.33, take the square root of that 3.33, and we get 1.82. And that's all I have for this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.